Well, let's go ahead and go over to the championship. Why don't we? So let's go ahead, go that way, and hear from our good friend John. If I can pull up this video.
Looked vastly improved this weekend because of smart personnel changes that saw them use Nick Firmino in the central midfield in place of Speedy Williams. Here you see Lexington break out in their 3-4-3-ish shape, with Firmino towards the top of the screen, looping around the edge, pushing forward as striker Foster Ajago drops in to hold up play. Firmino is a great passer in space, and he identifies the fact that left winger Marcus Epps has switched places with Michael Adedokun streaking up the left channel. Because of that shift, there's space to play a through ball, and Lexington is able to move quickly. This is a level of pace we haven't often seen from Lexington, and even though they only got a draw, this felt like a major match for their progress.
Yeah, so I mean, we're seeing improvements out of Lexington. Hey, and you know what, Rowdies, I'm gonna give you some love too. You get a goal with Manuel Arteaga, and he scores in the 60th minute, 62nd minute, and it comes from an assist from Leo Fernandez, and all kind of feels right in the world. I want to give you a shout out because it was a good draw. They've had several of these at this point of just good draws. Speaking of Tampa Bay, sorry, this is a side note. I want to give a shout out to Forrest Lasso, who on social media kind of posted that he has gone almost a year sober now. And so he's talking about how it's really like changed his life and how he's really changing himself as a human. I would highly recommend that. Forrest Lasso, one of the notorious, really good people of this league. So go show Forrest some love. Why don't you? But we see out of Tampa Bay, they get themselves a draw. But Lexington, like John mentioned, they actually were fast. And it sounds like a bad joke that the moment you remove Speedy, that they start going quicker. I I don't know. There's a joke in there. But Nick Firmino has been apparently the secret sauce. They keep tinkering with this lineup because they have like 47 players to choose from. Eventually, they'll come across the right combination. And maybe this is the one that sticks.
Yeah, when we had entered this match, we had said this was very much the stoppable force v the movable object, and it was going to be interesting to see how both teams kind of approach this game. I felt like a draw was kind of the inevitable outcome for when you have two teams that really need a win. It's the universe is going to collude and give both these teams a draw that it gives them some positives to look back on, something to kind of be happy about, but not entirely have everything fixed. I mean, you still had a Lexington team who produced 14 shots. They nearly doubled the number of shots that Tampa Bay had produced in the evening. So it slowly felt like they were getting something figured out. Well, I will say I do put Lexington on a little bit of upset alert when they play Charlotte this weekend in the Jaegermeister Cup, and we'll have to see how Tampa Bay does in theirs. But yeah, if we're looking at this kind of in terms of the league, when you had the two teams at the bottom of each conference, the two teams at the bottom of my ELO ratings face off, a draw was probably a fair outcome.
Any final thoughts on this matchup? All right, I want to hit a little bit. Someone hit the music. Ben, if you're listening to it, find a circle and make the raccoon dance because boy, did Charleston go into Keyworth and they got a big win, a 3-1 win where Jay Chapman comes back. He gets a goal 2 minutes in, and you're thinking, is Keyworth going to do their thing? And Juan David Torres kind of shows off why he might be one of the top 3 players in this league. He makes Cal Jennings' job so easy. It is 1-1. At that point, Charleston was never looking back as the fail Caesar match of Ben Pirmann goes back to Detroit City. Cal Jennings gets the second goal from MD Myers. He's doing somersaults on the field. He's having the time of his life. And then Juan David Torres gets the goal himself. Always fun to see Pirmann go back into Detroit City. That's just a fun matchup in of itself. And I think that Cal Jennings is going to get the love, getting the brace and all that kind of stuff. But this is Juan David Torres' world, and we're just living in it.
Yeah, I mean, Charleston entering this match at plus odds to win was like the easiest kind of money line hit you could get from the weekend. But over against USL opposition, they've won 8 in a row now. This is not just the hottest team in USL. Nicholas Murray branded them as the hottest team in US soccer at the moment. And like to go into Keyworth with a statement of saying, we're going to get a win. This is the first time that someone has beaten Detroit at Keyworth since I think Tulsa did it midway through summer of last year. But this is the first time that they've had a defeat by 2 goals or more since Colorado Springs beat Detroit City at Keyworth in September 2023. Like, teams don't just rock up to this stadium and score multiple goals, much less walk away with victories. And for Charleston to do it with 3 goals and to look like they were in control for pretty much most of the match, this is a damn good football team.
They're playing for that premier promotion a season early. Another level.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So,
also, just really quick, Jay Chapman comes back, and I want to just give a little bit of love to Detroit because they are the best free kick team in the league. I keep saying this all the time. Watch their set pieces. I think they may be my set piece tactics show this week. I should have done it earlier. I've been super busy with life, but they are so good. They are so good at set pieces. It's disgusting. Like they are just so clever. And Jake Chapman comes back, and you saw what it meant for him to score. Detroit has it going. I really like what Danny Dichio's doing there. By the way, I saw him last week when they played Birmingham. Might be one of the most massive humans I've ever seen. Like, that is just a mountain of a man. Absolutely terrified me. Like, he could absolutely snap me in half. So I will only say good things about Detroit City because he scares me. But Charleston side, man, are they the best team in the league? Because I know Nicholas Murray did put it out there, the hottest team in the U.S., but that doesn't always mean the best. You know, you can have the conversation about New Mexico. They aren't as sexy. Like, we don't end up talking about them very much because they don't play very sexy all the time, but it is good. You have El Paso in that conversation. Louisville is still unbeaten. Loudon arguably has the most talented player in the league with Albacora. Is Charleston the best team in the league?
Of that group, they're going to be the most fun team to watch. Like, if you're just like picking a weekend of teams to watch and you have one game, I would most likely pick Charleston. I think if you're going to watch their game against Greenville, you're going to see a Charleston Battery team that's going to absolutely kind of just run all over the Triumph. But it's interesting that you bring up some of these other teams because if you go back to March, I know a lot of teams have been different since then, but Louisville has beaten Charleston this year. That is one of Charleston's 2 defeats on the season. When they rematch again in August, I think that's going to be a very strong matchup that we're going to see for both teams. But yeah, like if you, we don't mention New Mexico or Louisville as much just because it's become the expectation that those teams win and they do it in, I guess, the most standard way. Like if you start every weekend and say Louisville is going to score 2 goals and get the win, yeah, like more often than not, that's going to be what's going to happen.
Yeah. Alex, I know you're obviously the League One updater. You're not the championship updater. But from what you're seeing from a bird's eye view, you know, what do you kind of see from far away?
Yeah, I mean, as a neutral, when I'm picking out a championship match to watch when there's no League One matches on, I'm definitely going towards, I definitely gravitate towards a Charleston match if it's available out of all of these. They are a fun team to watch. I do think they are, they do seem like they're one of the best. They are the best in the league right now.
So by the way, you mentioned the Greenville match. I'm trying to make sure that isn't one of the predictions that you put on. No, it's not. Is there, I want to say this very politely because there's people that I really like within the Greenville organization. Former co-host of the show, Gio Cañas, and one of my friends, he's there. Brandon is over there, and obviously just kind of people that I know and friendly with in the organization. I want to be careful with what I say, but if Charleston starts an A lineup and try to get the demons out from the FC Naples match, could this
There's
be
not a chance. Not a chance for Greenville. Yeah. I don't think. I also have. I also love those guys, and I hate to say this, but I don't think that Greenville stands a chance of anything with that match.
I think Charleston does have to play a top lineup because they're currently rock bottom of their group after that Naples defeat. That if they don't walk away this weekend with 3 points, the odds of them advancing, especially if Naples can win against Miami, which wouldn't be unheard of, they would start looking slimmer. And this is an incredibly winnable competition for the Battery.
By the way, I want to drop a Andy King question. That Andy King always has just the most fun questions, to be fair. What was your team's best player from this weekend according to FOTMob? Just go ahead and drop that into chat if you can find it. I can tell you from my personal club, it was Tyler Pasher. Tyler Pasher was the number one team for my club. So everybody kind of drop yours into the chat of who your top performer was according to the algorithm. So, let's see. What else was on our docket to talk about for this one, Ryan? I can't find it. Orange County. Orange County and Colorado Springs. Andy, time to celebrate. Maybe the new kits are it. By the way, I don't want to be the person to ask for kits. I don't want to be that guy. But oh my God, it's so good. Their new kit with a hot air balloon, so good. It's awesome. But Orange County gets a big 3-1 win. They look like they are kind of back. Herrera back in goal for switchbacks after Abrams gets loaned back. And some people might point to the second yellow card for Fontana and say that could be it after he gets his goal. But it was already 2-1 at that point, right? The match was, if you were to take that out, the match was technically already sealed. Is this more of Orange County are kind of figuring out read back four by John Morsey, by the way, because he talks about the use of, oh my gosh, who was it? Benazakar. Read that. But is this more of an Orange County's figuring out they're getting healthy, they're doing what they do, or are we in serious, we're worried about Colorado Springs, the defending champions?
I mean, it does seem pretty common that both the championship and League One's reigning champions right now are off to very slow starts to open the year. One stat that I found interesting with Orange County is when they have scored the opening goal of a match this year, they still have yet to lose. But yeah, if you're looking at this from Colorado Springs perspectives, they have their win against Pittsburgh from last week, which was their first win in the league since March. But since then, they get a lot of games that are both teams to score. It seems like they're still struggling to get those 3 points across the line. And when you have El Paso and New Mexico as your next two games, one of those being the Jaegermeister Cup match against El Paso away, it's getting to kind of a concerning level for me that I'm going to find my panic button and put it on the desk. But then you have two games in the middle of June against Oakland and Lexington after these next two that if they don't win those games, then yeah, I would be pressing the panic button.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of just laughing a little bit. I don't know who the league website accidentally has uploaded for Jonas Vigilberg's picture, but it's not him. I can tell you that. It is not him. That is not Jonas Vigilberg. If you go to the pictures, you'll know what I'm talking about. Who is that? Now it's going to bother me. I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I don't know where this team is at this point. Oh, I think it's supposed to be Herbert and Delhi. Yeah, maybe that's who it's supposed to be. That's not. Anyway, that's hilarious. But we all kind of saw that Colorado Springs brought back a lot of the same pieces, but they lost the key pieces and didn't truly replace them. I was worried about them coming into it, but I thought that maybe they had the magic sauce. I'm really worried about Colorado Springs. Really worried about them. Granted, they got their star last year. They have a year to kind of figure it out and say, okay, like whatever it is, what it is. But I'm extremely concerned on what's happening out in Colorado Springs.
And it's why it's so difficult to repeat as champions in this league. You haven't seen it since it was Louisville in 2017-18, and then Tampa Bay, who had, I know, the COVID year for repeating as conference champions. But it's a very challenging thing to do in the league. And as John has said in previous episodes, that there's not a bad team within this league, but there's a lot of parity in this league.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go ahead and hit a little bit of open floor, where I just want to go ahead and give a little bit of a Birmingham, like they get a win if Bill Hamid drops a ball at the feet of Ronaldo Damas. Like, okay, he's going to score that. It was a good second half. If the second half Legion team could come out every single week, they would be undefeated. If first half Legion come out every single week, they'll never win again. That's kind of where they are. And because he's not here, but I still want to give him some love and some happiness. Phil's El Paso. Man, they just keep doing it. Derby del Camino Real is the top two teams in the West. That's so exciting. Like, we're going to see that Derby match maybe decide the West, and that's everything that I'm here for. Andy Cabrera is turning into an absolute stud, which, by the way, people, he's not Wilmer Cabrera Jr. He goes by Andy Cabrera. He's made that like very clear. I don't know whatever the league pushes out, or not league itself, but like the like Opta basically uses legal names. They don't take nicknames into consideration. So whatever your legal name is, that's just kind of what they go with. Andy is what he goes by. But Andy Cabrera has been a super stud, man. I mean, he gets 2 goals and it makes a difference. You see early Johnny Rodriguez, formerly of Oakland, gets a goal for Las Vegas, and El Paso kind of didn't care. It's been fun, man.
It makes me sad that they've already played New Mexico twice this year in the league, so there won't be another rematch for it unless they meet in the playoffs. But if you're going to start circling dates kind of later in the year, that will be really fun for El Paso. Is in September, they host Loudoun and they host Charleston.
Alex, do you have any open floor?
Yeah, we got a big match coming up tomorrow night, League One USL Championship after dark with Spokane and Monterey Bay. Should Monterey Bay be a little worried here?
Yes. I'm not going to do the haha, I told you so, because Monterey Bay is much better than I thought they would be. But boy, have they come crashing down to earth. They have come crashing back down to earth. Granted, I'm not going to talk about the most recent match because, I mean, Ryan, you mentioned it yourself. Lou City wakes up, they win 2-0, they go to bed. Like, that's just who Lou City is. If they're having a bad day, they might only win 2-1. I'm sorry. Like, that's just kind of what they do. But they haven't won in 5 matches. Or 6 matches, excuse me. Their last match against said Colorado Springs, who are fighting for their lives right now. I think that Monterey Bay, if they cannot score, if they cannot figure out how to put the ball in the back of the net, they're going to be in big trouble. Because while their defense has been solid, Guzman and Nico Gordon have been really good. Campuzano has been standing on his head. I still think that Nico Gordon is going to be my young player of the year. He's been that good, unless depending on how young Abukora is, of course. But they don't have goals in them. And do you know who does have goals in them? Spokane. They have a lot of goals in them.
Yeah, shout out to Andrew Martin at the Union Report, who wrote up a very good summary of why Monterey Bay should be worried from the Monterey Bay perspective. I think he kind of effectively made the argument that that Spokane has a good shot at taking this one.
I mean, if we're going to talk about a team that in Monterey Bay who haven't won in their last 6 games, Spokane has won their last 6 games across all competitions, and that includes beating Oakland as another USL championship side in that part as well. If you're looking at it from Monterey Bay's perspective, they've been shut out 4 times in those previous 6 games, and the games that they've scored a goal in, they've scored first and then conceded, and so weren't able to hold on for the victory there. That I think Spokane has a really good chance on the road tomorrow. And if we're going to start like really looking at kind of the future standings of this, if Spokane can like go level on points with Las Vegas atop that group, we might be looking at our like USL 1 favorite to go the farthest in this competition.
Yeah, and Spokane goes deep too. Like that, the roster depth is just unreal. They're built to take on a team like Monterey Bay, I think.